Imagine being moved from one prison to another, under the watchful eyes of armed officers, through a maze of security checkpoints and strict protocols. This is not a movie, it's real life for inmates being transferred to San Quentin, California's most infamous prison. Today we go behind the walls to uncover the meticulous process that keeps both staff and prisoners safe. Transfers of inmates to a facility like San Quentin are not random, chaotic events. They are highly structured, deliberate, and guided by a complex set of rules designed to maintain safety, security, and order. Understanding the purpose behind these transfers is crucial, because it provides insight into the broader operations of the California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation (CDCR), and the challenges faced by both inmates and staff. The most obvious reason for transferring an inmate is security classification. California prisons are divided into multiple levels, ranging from minimum security facilities, where inmates have relatively more freedom of movement and access to programs, to maximum security institutions like San Quentin, where strict control and surveillance are essential. An inmate's classification is determined by a detailed assessment of their criminal history, behavior in custody, gang affiliations, and even psychological evaluations. If an inmate poses a higher security risk than their current facility can safely handle, a transfer becomes necessary. For example, an inmate convicted of violent crimes, or one who has demonstrated repeated attempts to escape or assault staff, may be moved to a higher security prison. Conversely, inmates showing consistent good behavior might be transferred to lower security institutions to participate in rehabilitation programs. In either scenario, the transfer is a reflection of the system's attempt to match an inmate's risk profile with the appropriate level of supervision. Another key purpose of transfer is overcrowding management. California's prison system has long struggled with population control. When one facility becomes overcrowded, authorities must redistribute inmates to maintain operational efficiency and minimize tensions. Overcrowding can increase the risk of violence, reduce access to healthcare and rehabilitation programs, and place an immense strain on correctional staff. By transferring inmates strategically, CDCR ensures that each facility maintains a manageable population, balancing security, resources, and the overall welfare of those incarcerated. Even these logistical moves are not simple. Careful planning goes into deciding which inmates are suitable for transfer and which facilities can safely accommodate them. Transfers also occur for medical or mental health reasons. Many prisons, including San Quentin, house specialized medical facilities or psychiatric units designed to treat inmates with specific conditions. If an inmate requires advanced care that their current institution cannot provide, whether it's ongoing treatment for chronic illnesses, surgeries, or mental health support, they may be moved to a facility equipped to meet those needs. These transfers are particularly sensitive, as they involve coordinating healthcare records, medication schedules, and ensuring the inmate's safety during transport. In this sense, a transfer is not just a matter of security, it's also an essential part of providing constitutionally mandated care to the incarcerated population. Court-related transfers represent another significant purpose. Inmates may need to appear in court for new charges, appeals, or sentencing hearings. Some might be transferred to facilitate participation in legal proceedings or to be closer to a particular courthouse. Similarly, inmates serving long-term sentences may be transferred as part of parole hearings, pre-release programs, or participation in rehabilitation opportunities available only in certain institutions. These movements reflect the intersection of the justice system and the prison system, where logistical coordination ensures that legal rights are maintained while security is uncompromised. Behavioral and disciplinary considerations also play a role. Inmates who demonstrate chronic misconduct, engage in violent altercations, or disrupt the order of a facility may be transferred to prisons that are better equipped to manage such behavior. Transfers in these cases serve as both a security measure and a behavioral intervention, signaling to inmates the consequences of their actions while placing them in environments suited for higher supervision. Conversely, positive behavior can also be rewarded through transfers to facilities offering more freedoms, better programs, or improved living conditions. Finally, transfers are often part of broader rehabilitation and reintegration strategies. San Quentin, for example, offers educational programs, vocational training, and work release opportunities that are not available in every prison. Transferring inmates to a facility where they can access these resources is a strategic decision aimed at reducing recidivism and helping inmates prepare for eventual re-entry into society. From the department's perspective, transferring an inmate is not solely punitive. It can also be a step toward rehabilitation and personal growth. All of these factors, security classification, overcrowding, medical needs, court requirements, behavioral considerations and rehabilitation, intertwine to create a transfer process that is both deliberate and multifaceted. Each decision is made with careful attention to detail, balancing safety, legal obligations, operational efficiency, and the overall management of California's prison system. The movement of inmates is more than just physical relocation. It reflects a broader strategy to maintain order, protect both staff and inmates, and manage one of the largest and most complex prison systems in the United States. In essence, every transfer to San Quentin carries with it a story, a combination of risk assessment, human behavior, logistical planning, and the overarching goals of the correctional system. It is a process that underscores the immense responsibilities of the people who work behind the scenes to ensure that California's prisons operate safely and effectively, even under challenging circumstances. Before an inmate ever steps foot onto a transport vehicle headed for San Quentin, they undergo a rigorous and meticulous process known as classification and risk assessment. This is a cornerstone of the inmate transfer system, designed to ensure that each individual is moved safely, securely, and in a way that maintains the stability of both the sending and receiving facilities. The classification process is far from superficial. It involves a detailed examination of an inmate's history, behavior, and potential threats, combining data analysis with professional judgment from correctional staff. The first step in this process is a comprehensive review of criminal history. Every inmate carries with them a record of past offenses, convictions, and the circumstances surrounding their crimes. Violent offenders, repeat offenders, or those with a history of escape attempts are flagged for higher security measures. This historical lens is crucial because it allows correctional officials to anticipate potential risks and design transport and housing strategies accordingly. For instance, a person convicted of organized gang-related violence may require specialized security protocols compared to an inmate convicted of nonviolent property crimes. Next comes the assessment of institutional behavior. Inmates are observed and evaluated continuously during their time in custody. Reports from correctional officers, disciplinary records, participation in programs, and even peer interactions are analyzed to determine whether an individual exhibits tendencies toward aggression, manipulation, or defiance of authority. This behavioral profile informs not only whether a transfer is necessary but also how it should be conducted. For example, an inmate with a history of confrontations with staff may be escorted by multiple officers, transported with restraints, or even moved separately from other inmates to prevent incidents during transit. Psychological evaluations are another critical component. Many inmates undergo mental health assessments to determine levels of stress, aggression, and impulse control. Those with mental health concerns may require additional monitoring or accommodations during transfer, including the presence of mental health professionals or specific medication protocols. This ensures that the inmate's psychological well-being is managed and that any potential for self-harm or harm to others is mitigated. Gang affiliation is a particularly sensitive factor in California's prison system. Inmates identified as gang members are assessed for potential security threats, both during transport and upon arrival at San Quentin. The movement of such inmates must be carefully orchestrated to prevent conflicts, retaliations, or disruptions in the receiving facility. Intelligence officers within the prison system often track gang networks and rivalries, providing vital information that influences the classification and risk assessment process. In addition to personal behavior and history, logistical factors also play a role in classification. The inmate's current facility, the receiving institution, and even the specific route of transfer are analyzed to ensure safe passage. Officers must consider vehicle capacity, the presence of security cameras or tracking systems, and contingency plans for emergencies. Every aspect of the inmate's movement is mapped out in advance, guided by the classification data that reveals their risk level. Classification is not static. It is a dynamic process that evolves with the inmate's behavior and circumstances. An inmate who demonstrates consistent good behavior, participates in educational or vocational programs, and adheres to rules may be reclassified over time, potentially resulting in less restrictive housing or even eligibility for work release programs. Conversely, infractions, violent behavior, or medical complications can trigger upgrades in security classification, necessitating more stringent measures during transfers. Finally, the risk assessment is integrated with a team-based decision-making process. Correctional officers, transport coordinators, psychologists, medical staff, and administrative personnel collaborate to ensure that every transfer is executed with precision. This multi-layered approach minimizes errors, reduces risks of escape or violence, and maintains the integrity of the prison system. It's a process that balances safety, legal obligations, and operational efficiency, reflecting the enormous responsibility placed on those managing inmate transfers. In summary, classification and risk assessment form the foundation of inmate transfers to San Quentin. It is a process that combines historical data, behavioral evaluation, psychological insight, gang intelligence, and logistical planning. By carefully assessing each individual's risk, the correctional system can ensure that transfers occur safely, securely, and efficiently, ultimately protecting both staff and inmates while maintaining order within California's most famous prison. Once an inmate has been assessed, classified, and approved for transfer to San Quentin, the next critical stage is preparation before transport. This stage is where meticulous planning meets practical execution, ensuring that the transfer proceeds safely, efficiently, and without incident. Preparation is more than simply moving someone from one location to another. It is a carefully orchestrated process that balances security, logistics, and the individual needs of the inmate. The first step in preparation is communication and notification. Inmates are informed of their upcoming transfer, including the date, time, and rules they must follow. While this may seem straightforward, it serves multiple purposes. It reduces confusion and anxiety, minimizes resistance during the transfer, and reinforces the authority and structure of the prison system. Staff may also inform the inmate about what to expect upon arrival, including intake procedures, housing assignments, and available programs at San Quentin. This orientation, even if brief, is designed to prepare the inmate mentally for the move and reduce the likelihood of disruptive behavior. Next comes security screening and searches. Before leaving the facility, inmates are subjected to thorough inspections. Personal belongings are inventoried carefully, ensuring that no prohibited items, such as weapons, contraband, or unauthorized communication devices, leave the prison. In some cases, clothing and personal items may be limited or replaced with standardized prison-issued uniforms to maintain control and prevent security breaches. In addition, correctional officers perform physical searches of the inmates themselves. These searches are conducted with professionalism and adherence to regulations, balancing security needs with respect for the inmate's dignity. Restraints and security measures are often applied depending on the inmate's classification and risk assessment. High-risk inmates may be handcuffed, shackled, or fitted with waist chains to prevent escape or violent actions during transport. Lower-risk inmates may travel with minimal restraints, but even in these cases, officers maintain strict oversight. The use of restraints is carefully calibrated. It is not intended to punish but to maintain safety for all involved: the inmate, fellow passengers, and correctional staff. Medical considerations are also critical during preparation. Before any transfer, inmates receive health screenings to ensure they are physically able to endure the journey. Those requiring medications, treatments, or ongoing medical care are provided with proper documentation and instructions. In some cases, medical staff may accompany the transport or provide guidance to officers on how to manage specific conditions. This ensures that health issues do not escalate during the journey and that the inmate's constitutional rights to care are upheld. In addition to individual preparations, logistical arrangements are coordinated. Correctional officers plan the route, vehicle assignments, and timing of the transfer with precision. Security measures include choosing routes that minimize public exposure, establishing check-in points along the way, and preparing contingency plans for emergencies. Vehicles are inspected to confirm that restraints, communications equipment, and emergency protocols are in place. Officers may travel in teams with roles clearly defined. Some focus on driving, others on supervising inmates, and others on monitoring communications and security systems. Every detail is planned to reduce risks and ensure the journey proceeds smoothly. Finally, officers brief the transport team on the specific profile of each inmate. This includes reminders of behavioral tendencies, past incidents, medical needs, and any special instructions to maintain security. The team operates as a unit, relying on training and coordination to respond quickly if any situation arises. Communication with the sending and receiving facilities is maintained throughout, providing updates and ensuring that San Quentin staff are ready to receive inmates as soon as they arrive. Preparation before transport reflects the precision and discipline of the California prison system. It is a stage that balances strict security with the humane treatment of inmates, ensuring that transfers do not become chaotic or dangerous. Each step, communication, searches, restraints, medical planning, and logistical coordination, is designed to protect everyone involved while maintaining the integrity of the process. For inmates, this preparation is their first introduction to the structured reality of San Quentin, signaling the rules, expectations, and oversight they will encounter within California's most famous prison. Once an inmate is fully prepared for transfer, the focus shifts to the transport itself, a phase that combines logistical precision, security measures, and constant vigilance. The method of transport is not arbitrary. It is carefully chosen based on the inmate's risk level, health status, and the distance to San Quentin, ensuring both safety and efficiency. For many, this part of the process may seem straightforward, but behind the scenes, it is a highly coordinated operation designed to prevent escape, maintain order, and safeguard everyone involved. The most common method of transport is secure ground vehicles, such as specially designed vans or buses. These vehicles are reinforced to prevent tampering, equipped with locking compartments, and monitored by correctional officers throughout the journey. For higher-risk inmates, vehicles may have separate cells or partitions to prevent communication or conflict among passengers. Officers stationed inside the vehicle continuously observe inmate behavior, while others may ride in accompanying vehicles to provide additional security. These mobile teams are trained to respond immediately to disturbances, medical emergencies, or attempts to escape. For some transfers, particularly those over long distances, air transport may be used, such as helicopters or small planes operated by correctional or law enforcement agencies. Air transport reduces travel time and minimizes exposure to potential threats along roadways. It is often reserved for the highest-risk inmates or those requiring urgent relocation due to medical, security, or court-related reasons. Even in the air, security protocols are strictly enforced. Restraints, constant officer supervision, and communication with ground teams ensure the journey remains controlled. Escort teams are a vital part of any transport method. These teams are composed of trained correctional officers who are familiar with the specific risks posed by each inmate. Each member has clearly defined roles. Some monitor behavior inside the vehicle, some maintain communications with dispatch and receiving facilities, and others are prepared to respond to emergencies. In some cases, K-9 units may accompany the transport for added security, especially when moving inmates with known affiliations to gangs or a history of violence. The coordination of these teams ensures that every transfer proceeds without incident, even in unpredictable situations. In addition to physical security, communication systems are critical during transport. Vehicles are equipped with radios or digital tracking devices that allow officers to remain in constant contact with both the sending and receiving facilities. Updates about the progress of the journey, changes in inmate behavior, or unexpected obstacles are relayed in real time. Contingency plans are always in place. Alternate routes, emergency protocols, and coordination with local law enforcement are pre-planned to mitigate any risk that might arise during the journey. Safety considerations extend beyond security measures to health and welfare. Officers monitor inmates for signs of distress, illness, or anxiety, particularly during long trips. Medical kits, oxygen supplies, and basic first aid are often on hand to address any issues immediately. For inmates with known medical conditions, protocols are established to ensure they receive medication on schedule and that any necessary interventions are available en route. Even the timing of transport is strategically planned. Transfers are often scheduled during periods of lower traffic or reduced public activity to minimize exposure and risk. In some cases, trips are staggered to prevent congestion at checkpoints or facilities, while still maintaining efficiency in moving multiple inmates. The timing also allows San Quentin staff to prepare for intake, ensuring a smooth transition upon arrival. In essence, the transport method is far more than moving inmates from point A to point B. It is a carefully choreographed operation that combines security, coordination, and attention to detail. Whether on the ground in reinforced buses or in the air via helicopters, the movement of inmates to San Quentin reflects the complexity of California's correctional system. It underscores the importance of planning, the expertise of correctional officers, and the constant balance between safety, efficiency, and the humane treatment of inmates. Each journey tells a story of preparation meeting execution. Officers alert and ready, inmates monitored and restrained appropriately, vehicles reinforced and equipped, communication channels active, and contingency plans in place. It is a process that ensures San Quentin continues to operate as one of the most secure and structured prisons in the United States, where every transfer is executed with precision and care. While the method of transport ensures that inmates physically move from their current facility to San Quentin, it is the security measures during transit that truly safeguard both the officers and the inmates. This stage is where meticulous planning, vigilance, and strict protocols converge to prevent incidents, maintain order, and ensure that the transfer proceeds without disruption. The journey itself is fraught with potential risks, ranging from escape attempts to medical emergencies or unexpected behavioral outbursts, and each risk is accounted for in advance. One of the most critical measures is constant supervision by correctional officers. Officers are strategically positioned inside and outside the transport vehicles to monitor inmate behavior continuously. Inside the vehicle, officers observe body language, interactions, and any signs of agitation or conflict among inmates. Outside, officers in escort vehicles track the transport, maintain communication with command centers, and are prepared to respond instantly to emergencies. This dual-layer monitoring ensures that any situation can be addressed immediately, reducing the likelihood of escalation. Restraints remain a key component of security. Depending on the risk assessment, inmates may be handcuffed, shackled, or fitted with additional devices that restrict movement. For high-risk inmates, these restraints are designed to prevent physical aggression, interference with fellow inmates, or attempts to manipulate security devices. Officers are trained not only to apply restraints safely but also to monitor them during transit, ensuring they do not cause harm while still providing effective control. The route planning is another vital security measure. Transport routes are carefully chosen to minimize public exposure, reduce travel time, and avoid areas that may present a higher risk of interference or escape attempts. Alternative routes are prepared in advance to account for accidents, traffic congestion, or emergencies. Officers often coordinate with local law enforcement to maintain a discreet and controlled passage, ensuring that the transfer remains secure from start to finish. Vehicles themselves are equipped with a range of security features. Reinforced doors, locked compartments, and partitions help separate inmates as needed. Surveillance cameras and communication devices allow officers to monitor the interior environment and maintain contact with the sending and receiving facilities at all times. Some vehicles are equipped with GPS tracking to provide real-time updates on location and progress, further enhancing security. During transit, officers maintain constant communication with both the origin and destination facilities. Updates about any incidents, changes in behavior, or unexpected delays are relayed in real time. This communication network ensures that San Quentin staff are ready to receive the inmates, that backup can be mobilized if needed, and that the journey remains coordinated and controlled. Contingency planning is another critical aspect of security. Every transfer has a set of pre-established emergency procedures. Officers are trained to respond to vehicle malfunctions, inmate medical emergencies, or escape attempts. Backup teams, including local law enforcement or specialized units, can be called in to support the transport. These contingency plans are rehearsed and documented, creating a system where every possible scenario has a prepared response. Even the smallest details are considered part of security. For example, meals and bathroom breaks are scheduled to minimize disruption and prevent opportunities for conflict. Inmates are continuously monitored for signs of fatigue, agitation, or illness. Officers are alert to even subtle behaviors that may indicate trouble, and protocols are in place to de-escalate situations safely. Ultimately, the security measures during transit reflect a careful balance between control and humane treatment. While strict procedures are essential to prevent escapes or incidents, officers also ensure that inmates' basic needs are met and that the transfer is conducted with dignity. This balance requires training, experience, and constant vigilance, as each inmate's behavior can be unpredictable, and each journey presents unique challenges. In essence, the security measures during transit are what make the journey to San Quentin not only possible but reliable. They demonstrate the expertise of correctional officers, the sophistication of planning, and the operational discipline of the California prison system. Every handcuff, partition, surveillance camera, and communication check is part of a larger framework designed to maintain order, protect lives, and ensure that the transfer process upholds both security and the rights of those being moved. After the tense, meticulously supervised journey, inmates finally arrive at San Quentin State Prison, one of California's most iconic and historic correctional facilities. Yet arrival does not mean freedom within the prison walls. It marks the beginning of another highly structured process: intake and orientation. This stage is critical, both for the safety of the staff and inmates and for the effective integration of new arrivals into the prison system. The first step upon arrival is verification and identification. Inmates' personal information, criminal records, and transfer documents are carefully reviewed and cross-checked against the prison's records. Fingerprints, photographs, and sometimes even biometric scans are conducted to ensure there are no discrepancies. This rigorous verification process ensures that every inmate is accurately accounted for and that the facility maintains precise records, which are crucial for security, legal compliance, and the management of daily operations. Following identification, inmates undergo thorough searches and security checks. Clothing and personal belongings are inspected once again, and any unauthorized items are confiscated. In some cases, inmates are provided with standardized prison uniforms to maintain order and reduce the risk of contraband entering the facility. Body searches are conducted according to strict procedures, balancing safety with respect for the inmate's dignity. These searches are essential, as they prevent the introduction of weapons, drugs, or other items that could compromise security within the prison. Medical and psychological evaluations are a critical component of intake. Inmates are assessed for injuries, illnesses, chronic conditions, and mental health needs. Staff ensure that medications are administered appropriately and that any ongoing treatment plans are continued without interruption. Mental health screenings help identify individuals who may require additional support, counseling, or monitoring to prevent crises. This careful attention to physical and mental well-being is both a legal obligation and a practical measure to maintain stability in the facility. Once identification and health evaluations are complete, inmates receive an orientation to San Quentin's rules, routines, and expectations. They are briefed on daily schedules, visitation procedures, safety protocols, and available programs. Orientation helps inmates understand the structured environment they are entering, reduces confusion, and fosters compliance with institutional rules. Officers may also communicate specific housing assignments, work responsibilities, and educational or rehabilitation opportunities available to the inmate. Housing assignment is another key step. San Quentin has multiple units, each with varying levels of security, inmate populations, and program access. Assignments are determined based on security classification, behavior, medical needs, and rehabilitation goals. High-risk inmates may be placed in maximum security units with strict supervision, while lower-risk or well-behaved inmates may have access to more communal or program-focused housing. Proper housing assignments are critical to reducing conflicts, managing gang dynamics, and maintaining overall order within the prison. Throughout the intake process, officers maintain close supervision and monitoring. Every movement is controlled, and interactions between inmates are carefully managed to prevent disputes or security breaches. Staff work systematically, ensuring that each step, from verification to housing assignment, is completed thoroughly before the inmate is fully integrated into the facility. Intake at San Quentin is not merely administrative. It is a structured introduction to life inside one of California's most famous prisons. It sets the tone for the inmate's experience, establishes expectations, and reinforces the strict security and operational protocols that define the facility. This stage is crucial for maintaining safety, minimizing disruptions, and helping inmates transition into the controlled environment of San Quentin, where every day is governed by rules, routines, and supervision. Ultimately, arrival and intake serve as the bridge between the inmate's journey from another facility and their life inside San Quentin. It is a process that reflects the meticulous planning and discipline of the correctional system, ensuring that every inmate is accounted for, assessed, and prepared for the reality of prison life while maintaining the safety and order of the institution. After the rigorous intake process, the final stage for inmates transferred to San Quentin is integration into prison life, a phase that determines how smoothly an individual adjusts to the routines, rules, and social structure of one of California's most famous and historic correctional facilities. Integration is more than assigning a cell or providing a uniform. It is a carefully structured process designed to promote safety, stability, and rehabilitation, while maintaining order among the inmate population. The first aspect of integration is housing and unit assignment. Inmates are placed in cells based on security classification, behavioral history, and individual needs. Maximum security units house high-risk individuals under strict supervision, while lower-risk units offer more opportunities for social interaction, work programs, or education. Housing is also influenced by gang affiliations, ensuring that rival members are separated to prevent conflict. Proper placement is critical, as it directly impacts both the safety of the inmate and the broader stability of the prison population. Once housed, inmates are introduced to the daily routines and schedules that structure life at San Quentin. Meals, work assignments, recreational periods, and educational programs are all regulated and coordinated by the facility. New arrivals are oriented on how to follow these routines, including rules for movement, communication, and participation in activities. Understanding the schedule is crucial not only for compliance but also for reducing anxiety and establishing a sense of predictability, which helps inmates adapt to the highly regulated environment. Work and educational programs form another key component of integration. San Quentin offers vocational training, educational classes, and rehabilitative programs designed to provide inmates with skills that can reduce recidivism and prepare them for eventual re-entry into society. Newly transferred inmates are assessed for eligibility and assigned accordingly. Participation in these programs is not only beneficial for personal development but also helps inmates gain privileges and a sense of purpose within the facility. Social integration is equally important. Inmates must navigate interpersonal dynamics with cellmates, unit peers, and the broader population. Officers closely monitor these interactions, particularly during the initial weeks, to prevent conflicts and ensure compliance with rules. In some cases, mentorship programs or staff guidance are provided to help newcomers adjust, teaching them the unwritten codes of conduct that govern behavior within the prison community. This social acclimation is essential for both the inmate's safety and the prevention of disruptions within the facility. Health and wellness continue to play a role during integration. Inmates are reminded of medical services, mental health resources, and counseling opportunities available at San Quentin. Staff ensure that ongoing treatments or medications continue uninterrupted, and they provide access to psychological support to help inmates manage stress, anxiety, or other mental health challenges associated with incarceration. By addressing both physical and emotional well-being, the prison system seeks to create an environment that maintains order while respecting inmates' basic needs. Monitoring and evaluation continue during integration. Officers regularly observe behavior, interactions, and participation in programs to ensure compliance with rules and identify any emerging risks. This ongoing assessment informs future housing decisions, program eligibility, and potential transfers within the facility. It is a continuous process that reinforces accountability while providing structured opportunities for growth and rehabilitation. Ultimately, integration into prison life is about transitioning inmates from being outsiders to becoming functional members of the institutional environment. Every rule explained, every program assigned, and every monitored interaction is part of a larger framework designed to maintain safety, order, and rehabilitation within San Quentin. The process balances strict security with opportunities for personal development, preparing inmates to navigate their daily lives under supervision while adhering to the routines and expectations of the prison system. Through housing assignments, structured routines, program participation, social acclimation, health management, and ongoing monitoring, inmates gradually learn to operate within the structured world of San Quentin. Integration is not instantaneous. It is a process that requires adjustment, guidance, and compliance. But it is essential for ensuring that the prison remains secure and that inmates have the tools and opportunities to engage with the system in a controlled, productive way.